What's up everyone, welcome back to SwitchTop. Today we're diving into the top 25 best single-player games on Nintendo Switch. These are the games you can sink hours into without needing an internet connection or other players. Whether you're on a long flight or just want to get lost in a great solo experience, these games deliver. Let's jump right in. SteamWorld Dig 2 puts you in control of Dorothy, a steam-powered robot searching for her missing friend Rusty in underground mines filled with secrets and danger. The gameplay loop is incredibly satisfying. You dig downward through dirt and stone, collect resources and gems, then return to the surface town to upgrade your gear and abilities. The more you upgrade, the deeper you can venture. And the game does a fantastic job of constantly rewarding exploration with new tools like a grappling hook, jet engine, and pressure bombs that open up previously inaccessible areas. Combat happens as you encounter various mechanical enemies and creatures in the caves, but the real joy comes from the Metroidvania-style progression, where each new ability lets you revisit earlier areas to find hidden secrets. The procedurally generated caves are mixed with handcrafted puzzle rooms and challenge areas that test your skills. The controls are tight and responsive, which is crucial since you'll be doing a lot of precision platforming while managing your water supply that powers all your abilities. Ys 8. Lacrimosa of Dana follows red-haired adventurer Adol Kristen, who gets shipwrecked on a mysterious cursed island along with other passengers and crew. You'll spend your time exploring the island's diverse biomes, rescuing other castaways to build up your village, and uncovering the truth about the ancient civilization that once lived there. The combat system is fast-paced action RPG goodness, where you control Adol and can switch between party members on the fly, each with different attack types that are effective against specific enemy defenses. Timing your dodges and guards perfectly triggers flash moves that slow down time, letting you unleash devastating combos. The game alternates between Adol's story and mysterious dream sequences where you play as Dana, a blue-haired woman from the island's past. And watching how these two storylines connect is genuinely compelling. You'll craft items, fish, cook meals for stat bonuses, and complete quests for your fellow castaways, while defending your village from periodic monster raids. Sifu is an intense martial arts revenge story, where you play as a young kung fu student, hunting down the assassins who murdered your family. The unique aging mechanic defines the entire experience. Each time you die, you resurrect on the spot, but age up, and the older you get, the more damage you deal, but the less health you have. If you reach your 70s and die again, it's permanent game over for that run. Combat is all about positioning, timing, and reading your enemies as you face off against realistic opponents in close-quarters brawls across 5 distinct levels, including a nightclub, museum, and skyscraper. You'll use light and heavy attacks, dodge in different directions, parry incoming strikes, and build up a structure meter on enemies that leaves them vulnerable when broken. Environmental attacks let you smash enemies into walls, throw objects, or use weapons you pick up, though weapons break after limited use. The game is brutally difficult and demands you learn enemy patterns and manage crowds without getting surrounded. Between runs, you'll permanently unlock new skills using experience points, slowly building a moveset of sweeps, takedowns, and focus attacks that let you approach situations differently. Vampire Survivors is a reverse bullet hell roguelike, where you automatically attack and must survive increasingly overwhelming hordes of monsters for 30 minutes per run. You pick a character with unique starting stats and weapons, then move around gothic environments while your weapons fire automatically. The genius is in the build variety. As you level up during a run, you choose from randomized upgrades and new weapons, and certain combinations evolve into powerful advanced versions. Your screen gradually fills with hundreds of enemies, projectiles, and visual effects as you become an unstoppable force mowing down entire armies. Different characters unlock as you complete achievements, each favoring different playstyles, from glass cannon damage dealers to tanky survivors. Stages range from a library to a forest to a dairy plant, each with unique enemy types and environmental hazards. The meta progression involves spending gold earned from runs to permanently upgrade stats and unlock new characters and stages. Power-ups scattered across maps include magnets that pull experience gems toward you, vacuum effects that collect everything on screen, and temporary invincibility. Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze sees DK and friends defending their island home from the invading Snowmads, Arctic Vikings who've frozen the island in eternal winter. You'll platform through 6 themed worlds with some of the most creative and challenging level design Nintendo has ever produced, from African savanna levels where you ride rhinos and bounce on giant fruit, to underwater sections with dynamic camera angles and sawfish enemies. Each Kong has unique abilities. Diddy has a jetpack for extended jumps. Dixie can hover with her hair, Cranky can bounce on his cane like Scrooge McDuck, and Funky Kong in the Switch version makes the game more accessible with extra hearts and unique moves. The platforming is pure precision, where momentum and timing matter, with collectibles like puzzle pieces and Kong letters hidden in clever spots that require mastery of the controls. Minecart and rocket barrel levels provide intense auto-scrolling challenges, while Rambi the Rhino sections let you charge through everything in your path. Boss battles are spectacular multi-phase encounters against inventive animal-themed Vikings. Divinity Original Sin 2 drops you into the world of Rivellon, where magic users called sorcerers are being hunted, and you either escape or embrace your powers while uncovering a plot involving ancient gods. You create a custom character or choose from 6 origin characters, each with their own backstory and personal quests that significantly impact how you experience the story. The turn-based combat system is incredibly deep. With environmental interactions, you can electrify water puddles, ignite oil slicks, use teleportation to reposition enemies into hazards, and combine elemental effects in creative ways. Every character can be built however you want with a classless system where you mix and match skill trees for warrior abilities, magic schools, support spells, and more. The game world is richly detailed, with countless side quests, hidden treasures, and NPCs with full dialogue trees, and your choices throughout genuinely matter, with different outcomes and consequences. You can solve problems through combat, diplomacy, stealth, or creative use of abilities like talking to animals with a special talent. Super Mario Bros. Wonder takes the classic 2D Mario formula and injects it with creativity and surprises we haven't seen in decades. The adventure takes place in the Flower Kingdom, where Bowser has transformed himself into a flying castle, and Mario and friends must collect Wonder Seeds to save the day. The standout feature is the Wonder Flower mechanic. Touch one during a level, and reality warps in unpredictable ways. Pipes might suddenly grow legs and run away. Mario could turn into a blob or balloon. The entire level might rotate. Enemies could start singing, or you could become a Goomba experiencing the level from their perspective. These moments create genuine surprise and delight throughout the entire game. The elephant power-up lets you spray water to reveal secrets, swing your trunk to hit blocks from the side, and ground pound with extra force. Badges replace the traditional power-up storage, giving you special abilities like wall jumping, starting levels with a mushroom, or performing a grappling hook swing, and you equip one before each level. You can play as Mario, Luigi, Peach, Daisy, Toad, Toadette, Yellow Toad, Blue Toad, Yoshi, and Nabbit, each feeling slightly different. The Legend of Zelda: Link's Awakening is a full remake of the Game Boy classic, where Link washes ashore on the mysterious Koholint Island after a storm destroys his ship. The island's inhabitants tell you the only way to leave is to wake the windfish sleeping in a giant egg on the mountain. So you set out to collect 8 instruments from dungeons scattered across the land. Along the way, you'll meet quirky characters, solve puzzles, and discover the island holds secrets about the nature of reality itself. The gameplay is classic top-down Zelda with sword combat, a shield for defense, and a gradually expanding arsenal, including bombs, a bow, a hookshot, and magic powder. Dungeons are brilliantly designed, with puzzles involving pushing blocks, using keys strategically, and defeating mini-bosses before facing off against creative main bosses. The game introduces side-scrolling platforming sections and an adorable chain-chomp companion you can walk like a dog. The Chamber Dungeon Creator lets you build custom dungeons using rooms you've cleared, though it's more of a fun bonus than a full-featured editor. Metroid Prime Remastered brings the GameCube masterpiece to Switch, with stunning visual upgrades and refined controls that make this the definitive way to experience Samus Aran's first 3D adventure. You arrive on planet Talon 4, following a distress signal, and discover the space pirates are experimenting with a dangerous mutagen called Phazon. The game is a first-person adventure that prioritizes exploration and atmosphere over run-and-gun shooting. You'll scan enemies and lore entries to build up your understanding of the world's history, solve environmental puzzles using your constantly expanding arsenal of beams and visors, and gradually unlock new areas as you gain abilities like the Morph Ball, bombs, missiles, and various suit upgrades. Combat encounters are methodical, where you lock onto enemies, strafe around them, and exploit weaknesses, with boss battles that require pattern recognition and smart use of your abilities. The Metroidvania structure means you'll constantly backtrack to previous areas, with new abilities to access secrets you spotted earlier but couldn't reach. Each major area, the fiery Magmoor Caverns, the overgrown Chozo Ruins, the underwater depths, and the Phazon corrupted areas, has its own visual identity and challenges. Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is a massive JRPG set on the backs of continent-sized creatures called Titans that are slowly dying. You play as Rex, a salvager who discovers a legendary living weapon called a blade named Pyra, and together you journey to reach Elysium, a fabled paradise before the world ends. The story spans multiple Titans, each with unique ecosystems, cities, and cultures, and tackles themes of purpose, mortality, and what it means to truly live. The combat system is real-time, with auto-attacks building up energy to unleash powerful arts abilities, and positioning matters since attacking from the side or rear deals bonus damage. The blade system is central to everything. Drivers bond with blades who grant them weapons and abilities, and you'll collect dozens of blades throughout the game, each with different roles like attack, tank, or healer. Combos are layered and complex, involving driver arts, special attacks that charge through multiple levels, blade combos that exploit elemental weaknesses, and devastating chain attacks where your whole party unleashes everything at once.
Why not? Yeah! Gah! Ha! See, Grumps? I'm getting better.
Dragon Quest III HD 2D Remake brings the classic JRPG to modern audiences, with a stunning visual overhaul that blends pixel art characters with 3D environments and dramatic lighting effects. You play as a young hero, following in your father's footsteps to defeat the evil archfiend Baramos, who threatens the world. The game starts with you customizing your party of 4 adventurers at a tavern, choosing from classes like warrior, mage, priest, merchant, and more, each with distinct abilities and equipment options. Combat is turn-based, where you select commands for each party member, manage MP for spells, and use items strategically to survive increasingly difficult encounters. The world map is massive, with towns to explore, dungeons filled with treasures and boss monsters, and a day-night cycle that affects NPC schedules and enemy encounters. You'll take on quests, gather better equipment, and level up your party as you travel across continents by foot, ship, and eventually other methods. The class change system lets you switch jobs mid-game to create hybrid builds with multiple skill sets. The remake adds quality of life improvements like auto battle options, speed-up features, and a monster arena where you can capture and battle creatures. Luigi's Mansion 3 has you playing as Mario's easily frightened brother, who must save his friends from King Boo's trap inside a massive, haunted hotel. Each floor of the hotel has a completely different theme. You'll explore everything from a medieval castle floor, to a museum, a movie studio, a pirate ship level, and even a disco dance hall, with each area featuring unique ghosts and environmental puzzles. Your main tool is the Poltergust G00 vacuum that sucks up ghosts after you stun them with your flashlight's strobe function. And the new slam mechanic lets you bash ghosts against the ground and other objects for massive damage. The real game changer is Gooigi, a gooey clone of Luigi made from ghost matter who can squeeze through grates, spikes, and bars to reach areas Luigi can't access. And you'll constantly switch between both characters to solve puzzles, even when playing solo. Combat involves stunning ghosts with timed flashlight bursts when they're preparing to attack, then vacuuming them up while they're vulnerable and slamming them repeatedly until they're captured. Octopath Traveler 0 stands out as a deeply satisfying single-player JRPG by refining the series' HD 2D foundation while expanding its scope in meaningful ways. Exploration spans a large interconnected world filled with towns, dungeons, side quests, and optional challenges that reward curiosity and careful preparation. Combat remains turn-based but highly tactical, built around the familiar break and boost systems that encourage players to study enemy weaknesses, time their actions, and unleash powerful turns through smart resource management. Battles gain additional depth through a larger active party, flexible role composition, and the ability to rotate characters strategically, making encounters feel dynamic rather than static. Progression is closely tied to recruiting a wide cast of characters, each bringing unique skills, jobs, and narrative flavor that influence both combat and exploration. A notable addition is the town-building element centered on restoring a ruined hometown, which gradually unlocks new facilities, quests, and gameplay advantages, giving long-term purpose beyond combat alone.
For the people's sake. Here goes nothing! Works like a charm! Let me!
Astral Chain is an action game from Platinum Games, where you play as a rookie police officer in NieR, a special task force protecting the last human city from interdimensional creatures called chimeras. The standout feature is the Legion system. You control your character while simultaneously commanding a tethered Legion, which is basically a captured chimera bound to serve you. You'll unlock 5 different Legion types throughout the game, including Sword, Arrow, Arm, Beast, and Axe, each with unique combat abilities and utility functions for exploration and puzzle solving. Combat is about positioning yourself and your Legion to create combo opportunities, wrapping the chain connecting you around enemies to bind them, or timing perfect dodges to slow down time and counterattack. Between the intense action sequences, you'll investigate crime scenes by examining evidence, questioning witnesses, and using Legion abilities to reconstruct what happened. The game takes you through a futuristic megacity and into alternate dimension zones called the Astral Chain, where reality breaks down. You can customize your character's appearance and unlock new combat skills as you progress, with a skill tree that lets you specialize in different playstyles. NieR Automata drops you into a post-apocalyptic future where humanity has fled to the moon and sent android soldiers called YoRHa to fight proxy wars against alien-created machines on Earth. You primarily play as 2B, a combat android, and her reconnaissance partner 9S, as they battle through the ruins of human civilization. The combat system is fast-paced action, with light and heavy attacks, perfect dodges that trigger bullet time, and a pod companion that fires ranged attacks and special programs like lasers and hammer slams. You can equip 2 weapon sets and switch between them mid-combo, with weapon types including swords, spears, and heavy gauntlets that all feel distinctly different. The game constantly switches perspectives and genres. You'll play through top-down shooter segments, side-scrolling platforming sections, bullet hell sequences, and even a text adventure at one point. What really defines NieR Automata is its multiple playthrough structure, where beating the game unlocks new perspectives that completely recontextualize everything you experienced, with each playthrough revealing new story elements and gameplay mechanics.
Laser communications recovered.
Toby, I'm transmitting your pod program.
Persona 4 Golden puts you in the shoes of a high school student who moves to the rural town of Inaba and gets caught up in a murder mystery involving a strange world inside televisions. You and your friends discover that people are being thrown into this TV world and you must rescue them before they die, while also figuring out who the killer is. The game splits time between dungeon crawling and social simulation. During the day, you attend school, hang out with friends, work part-time jobs, and build social links that represent your relationships with various characters. These social links aren't just story fluff. They directly power up the personas you use in combat. The turn-based combat system revolves around exploiting enemy weaknesses with different elemental attacks and physical skills, and hitting a weakness gives you an extra turn. You summon and fuse personas, which are basically different demon creatures that grant you abilities, and you can collect and combine them to create stronger versions with better skills. The TV world dungeons are randomly generated floors filled with shadows to fight and treasures to collect, with bosses that require you to understand their patterns and come prepared with the right persona setup.
That's some thick skin.
It's over! I couldn't do it!
3 enemies left! Persona! Go!
Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury gives you 2 complete Mario experiences in one package. The main game is a 3D platformer, where up to 4 players can team up to stop Bowser, who has kidnapped the Sprixie princesses and trapped them in bottles. You run through linear but brilliantly designed levels filled with secrets, collecting green stars and stamps, while using creative power-ups like the cat suit that lets you climb walls and pounce on enemies, or the double cherry that creates clones of your character. Each of the 5 playable characters handles differently. Mario is balanced, Luigi jumps higher but slides more, Peach can float, Toad runs fastest, and Rosalina has a spin attack. The level design constantly introduces new ideas, from riding dinosaurs to navigating disappearing platforms to using the touchscreen on certain stages. Bowser's Fury is the real game changer though. It's an open-world Mario adventure set in Lake Lapcat, where you collect cat shines to power up and stop Fury Bowser, a kaiju-sized version of Bowser covered in black goo, who periodically awakens to rain destruction across the map. Chained Echoes is a love letter to classic 16-bit JRPGs with a story about 3 kingdoms locked in endless war over powerful mechs called Sky Armors. You control a party of characters who get caught up in a larger conspiracy involving ancient relics and forces manipulating the conflict from the shadows. The turn-based combat system uses an overdrive meter that shifts between different states as you fight. Certain actions push the meter up while others bring it down, and you want to keep it in the green zone where your party gets massive bonuses to damage and healing. Managing this meter while dealing with enemies creates a dynamic flow where you have to think about action economy rather than just spamming your strongest moves. Characters learn skills from their class, but can also equip different weapons that grant new abilities, letting you customize their roles in combat. The game has no random encounters. Enemies are visible on the map, and you can choose to engage or avoid them. Sky Armor battles happen during specific story segments, where you pilot giant mechs with their own abilities and strategies. Cuphead is a run-and-gun action game with a 1930s cartoon art style where you play as Cuphead and Mugman, who made a bad bet with the devil and now have to collect soul contracts from various debtors to save themselves. The game is primarily a boss rush experience, with over 30 boss fights that are brutally difficult and require you to learn complex attack patterns while constantly moving and shooting. Each boss has multiple phases that completely change their attack patterns, keeping you on your toes throughout the entire fight. You have a standard infinite ammo shot, a parry slap that lets you bounce off pink objects to build super meter, a dodge roll, and special attacks called super arts that consume your meter for powerful effects. Between boss fights, you'll run through platforming levels called run-and-gun stages, where you shoot through enemies and environmental hazards to collect coins. These coins let you buy new weapons like spread shots, homing attacks, and charge beams from Pork Ryan's shop, plus charms that give passive bonuses like an extra hit point or automatic parrying. You can equip 2 weapons and swap between them during fights, which is crucial since different weapons work better against different bosses and phases. Celeste is a precision platformer about a young woman named Madeline, who decides to climb Celeste Mountain, despite suffering from anxiety and panic attacks. The story deals with mental health in a genuine and respectful way, as Madeline confronts a dark reflection of herself that represents her self-doubt and negative thoughts. The platforming mechanics are simple. You can run, jump, climb walls for a limited time, and perform a mid-air dash in any direction once before touching the ground to recharge it. These basic moves combine to create increasingly complex challenges that demand pixel-perfect timing and creative problem-solving. Each chapter introduces new mechanics, like moving platforms, dream blocks you can dash through once, bubbles that restore your dash, and feathers that let you fly briefly. The game is incredibly challenging, with thousands of deaths being normal, but the instant respawn system means you're back in the action immediately without frustration. B-side and C-side levels unlock after completing chapters, offering even harder remixed versions for players who want to push their skills further. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge is a beat-em-up that brings back the classic arcade gameplay from the 90s with modern polish. The story has the Turtles fighting through New York City to stop Shredder and Krang from using a device that will give them ultimate power. You can play as Leonardo, Michelangelo, Donatello, Raphael, Splinter, April O'Neil, or Casey Jones, and each character has their own stats and special moves. The combat lets you do basic combos, launcher attacks that juggle enemies in the air, charged heavy attacks, and a special move that costs energy but clears out crowds. You build up a super meter during combat that unleashes devastating special attacks when full. The game has 16 levels filled with Foot Clan soldiers, mutants, and iconic bosses from the cartoon series. You'll fight through streets, sewers, rooftops, and familiar locations while collecting pizza to restore health and power-ups that boost your stats temporarily. The pixel art is gorgeous, with smooth animations, and the soundtrack absolutely slaps, with tracks that capture that Saturday morning cartoon energy perfectly. Ori and the Blind Forest, Definitive Edition, is a Metroidvania platformer where you play as Ori, a small guardian spirit trying to restore the forest of Nibel after a catastrophic event has caused it to decay. The story is emotional and told mostly through gorgeous cutscenes and environmental storytelling as you work to rekindle 3 ancient trees. The movement system is incredibly fluid, with abilities like wall jumping, double jumping, charge dashing, and bash, which lets you launch off projectiles and enemies in any direction you choose. Combat involves shooting spirit flames at enemies while dodging their attacks, and you'll unlock new abilities like ground pound and charge dash that open up previously inaccessible areas. The save system is unique. You create soul links anywhere using energy, so you decide where your checkpoints are, which adds strategy to exploration. You'll collect energy cells and health cells to expand your maximum capacity, plus ability points to unlock skills from a tree that improves damage, survivability, and utility. The hand-painted art style is breathtaking, with layers of detail in every environment, and the orchestral soundtrack elevates every moment. The Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild puts you in control of Link, who wakes up after a 100-year sleep to find Hyrule in ruins, and must stop Calamity Ganon from destroying what remains. The game gives you complete freedom after the tutorial area. You can literally go fight the final boss, or explore in any direction you choose. The climbing system lets you scale almost any surface, as long as you have stamina, completely changing how you navigate the world. Combat involves melee weapons, bows, and shields that all have durability and will break with use, forcing you to constantly adapt and try new gear. The Sheikah Slate gives you runes like remote bombs, magnetic control of metal objects, creating ice pillars in water, and stopping objects in time, then hitting them to build kinetic energy. Weather affects everything. Rain makes surfaces slippery, lightning strikes metal equipment during storms, and extreme temperatures require proper clothing or elixirs. You'll solve shrine puzzles to earn spirit orbs that upgrade health or stamina, hunt for ingredients to cook meals that restore health and provide buffs, and slowly piece together what happened through recovered memories. Hades has you playing as Zagreus, the son of Hades, who's trying to escape the underworld to reach the surface and find his birth mother. Each run starts in the House of Hades, where you can talk to gods and other characters, upgrade your abilities permanently, and then attempt to fight your way through randomly generated chambers filled with enemies. Combat is fast-paced hack and slash, where you have a main weapon attack, a special attack, a cast that throws projectiles, and a dash to avoid damage. During runs, you'll receive boons from Olympian gods that modify your abilities in powerful ways. Zeus adds chain lightning. Ares causes doom effects that detonate for massive damage. Aphrodite weakens enemies, and Dionysus applies stacking poison. You choose from 6 different weapons that completely change your playstyle, and each weapon has hidden aspects that transform them further. The roguelike structure means dying is part of the story. You return home and have new conversations that advance relationships and reveal plot details. You'll spend collected resources to permanently upgrade your stats through the Mirror of Night and unlock new items. The voice acting is phenomenal, and somehow there's new dialogue even after hundreds of runs. Hollow Knight Silksong is the sequel to Hollow Knight, starring Hornet, the princess protector of Hallownest, who finds herself captured and taken to a new kingdom called Farloom. You'll need to ascend from the depths of this unfamiliar land to reach the top, while uncovering its mysteries. Hornet plays completely differently from the Knight. She's faster and more aggressive with her needle and thread, providing quick slashing attacks and the ability to bind enemies temporarily. She has tools instead of spells that consume silk, a resource that regenerates by landing hits on enemies, encouraging aggressive play. The combat system rewards skillful play with abilities that trigger on perfectly timed actions. You'll explore interconnected areas filled with new enemy types, challenging bosses, and hidden secrets that require both combat mastery and clever use of your expanding toolset. The Kingdom of Farloom features diverse biomes, from mossy grottos to coral forests to gilded cities, each with unique inhabitants and dangers. You'll collect resources to craft upgrades and purchase items from merchants, while managing your loadout of tools and passive charms. The art style maintains that gorgeous hand-drawn aesthetic, with even more detailed animations and environmental storytelling. And there you have it, the top 25 best single-player games on Nintendo Switch. From intense beat-em-up action to emotional platforming adventures, these games represent some of the best experiences you can have on Nintendo's hybrid console. What's your pick from this list? Let me know in the comments what single-player games you're currently playing on Switch. If you enjoyed this video, smash that like button and subscribe to SwitchTop for more Nintendo Switch content. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.